How Rich People Think by Siebold. Read by M. Sense. Introduction. This book isn't about money. It's about thinking. Each short chapter represents one of the lessons I've learned over the past 26 years interviewing some of the richest people in the world. Every chapter compares the middle class and the world class. These terms reference the average person versus the world class thinker. The idea is to compare the way most people think about money in contrast to the rich. The differences are as extreme as they are numerous. When I started this journey in 1984, I was in college. I was a college student, completely broke and searching for my answers about success. I wasn't finding it in the classroom. My discoveries along the way changed my life, and I wrote this book to give you the same opportunity. If you follow the beliefs, philosophies, and strategies of the rich and take action, you have a legitimate shot at becoming a millionaire. The secret is not in the mechanics of money, but in the level of thinking that generates it. Once you learn to embrace this, your earning potential is limitless. If you find yourself saying, not all rich people believe this or do that, of course, you're right. I base these comparisons on what the majority of the rich people shared with me. This also applies to what I say about the masses. I interviewed rich people because I wanted to be rich. What I discovered was to get rich, I had to learn to think like a rich person. I spent the first 25 years of my life thinking about money like the masses, which kept me broke. Once I changed my thinking, the money started to flow. The changes began with my thinking, which led to me to take effective action that eventually made me a millionaire. Don't be impressed or intimidated by my success or anyone else's, because you can do the exact same thing. Let this book be your guide. I wish you the best of luck on your journey. Please let me know how you're progressing by visiting mentaltoughnessblog.com and share your story. All the best, Steve Siebold. Chapter 1. Middle class focus on savings, world class focus on earning. Driven by the fear of loss and uncertainty of the future, the masses focus on how to protect and hoard their money. While world-class thinkers understand the importance of saving and investing, they direct their mental energy toward accumulating wealth through serving people and solving problems. When an economic correction occurs, the fear-based saver suffers catastrophic losses that may take years to recover. While world-class thinkers suffer similar losses, they quickly turn their attention to financial opportunities that present themselves in a society of suddenly terrified people. While the masses are selling for short-term survival, the great ones are buying for long-term success. One group is operating from fear, the other from abundance. The self-made rich aren't afraid to take calculated risks because they know if they lose, they can make it all back. While the middle class is always looking for the home run investment that will make them wealthy. The world class invest wisely, knowing the bulk of their fortune will come from the service they provide. Most people are more concerned with the modest gains they accumulate from the savings and investments than they are with using their billionaire minds to create a fortune. The masses are so focused on clipping coupons and living frugally that they miss major opportunities. Even in the midst of cash flow crisis, the rich reject the nickel and dime thinking of the masses. Even in the midst of a cash flow crisis, the rich reject the nickel and dime thinking of the masses. They are the masters at focusing their mental energy where it belongs, on the big money. How about you? Are you more focused on saving pennies or building an empire? Your current financial status will give you an idea of your past thinking. If you're rich, keep thinking that way. Keep thinking the way you're thinking. If not, maybe it's time for a change. Chapter 2. Middle class thinks about money in linear terms. World class thinks about money in non-linear terms. The masses trade time for money. This creates the belief that making money is a linear process directly connected to time. The average person believes the only way to earn money is to work more hours, with the exception of raises and bonuses. The wealthy know big money requires thinking about it in non-linear terms. The great ones are masters at generating money through ideas that solve problems. They realize that since there are no limits to ideas, there is no limit to how much money they can earn. So while the middle class is scrambling to survive and fighting for their financial future, the world class is capitalizing on their elevated level of awareness. The masses waste a substantial percentage of their mental energy worrying about money, while the champions are fearlessly directing their focus to become wealthier every day. Fortunes can be created almost overnight with the right idea at the right time, but only if the performer understands this nonlinear phenomenon. Since most people think of making money in a linear fashion, they never invest the necessary effort to create high-impact solutions. The truth is, people who educate themselves in this philosophy have the potential to become as wealthy as they wish. And while this has been proven again and again, the average person's refusal to believe this holds them back from ever getting started. This is another reason on the long list of why rich people get richer and poor get poorer. Chapter 3. Middle class believes hard work creates wealth. World class believes leverage creates wealth. If hard work was the secret to financial success, every construction worker and cocktail waitress would be rich. The wealthy strategically focus their efforts on the most profitable areas of their business while leveraging their contacts, credibility, and resources to maximize the results of every action they take. World-class performers work hard, but not in the traditional sense. Hard work to the wealthy means outthinking their competitors and leveraging the collective brain power of their advisors. The middle class sees hard work as a badge of honor. The world class sees success as a major important badge of honor. While one group is mentally and physically exhausted at the end of the day, the other is fresh and excited about thinking of new solutions and ideas that would keep the first group employed. As a result, the middle class live paycheck to paycheck, and the world class live without limits. The only real difference lies in their approach and ability to use leverage in place of linear effort. The average person is playing like proverbial slot machine, while the wealthy own the slot machines. The beauty of living in a capitalistic society is that anyone in middle class is free to make the necessary changes in thinking to capitalize on the concepts. Most people won't do it because they are either unaware of how they think can differently. Most people won't do it because they are either unaware of how they think differently or they don't believe it's possible. Either way, the wealthy will continue to amass fortunes while the masses sit on the sidelines worrying about how to pay their bills. Chapter 4 of How the Rich People Think by Steve Siebold. Middle class believes money is complicated. World class believe money is simple. The masses believe making money is mysterious. World class thinkers know money flows from ideas. They know that the more value they create in the marketplace, the wealthier they will become. The great ones are masters at converting critical areas of life to simple formulas anyone can follow. Getting rich in a free market economy is simply a matter of trading solutions for money. The bigger the solution, the bigger the paycheck. It's that simple. The masses have always thought rich people are smarter, luckier, or more educated. Of course, none of these things are true. The rich seek making money through the eyes of endless possibilities and aren't afraid to stake their claim. No matter how often they fail, they persist until they succeed. Their mindset is rooted in abundant potential every new idea presents, and they live in a consciousness full of excitement and grand anticipation. So while the middle class approaches money with the mind of an over-analytical academic, the world class approaches money like a child who doesn't understand limitation and honestly believes he can do anything. One group is satisfied with the statistical improbabilities of getting wealthy and resigns to be happy, settling for less, and the other ignores the statistics and conquers the world. Making money may not be easy, but it is simple. There is no mystery to getting rich, but this limiting belief stops people from ever trying. Has it ever stopped you? Is it stopping you now? Chapter 5. Middle class believes building wealth is a solitary effort. The world class believes building wealth is a team effort. The average person clocks in at 9 and out at 5. They are paid for the results of their individual efforts. This limits what they're worth to the organization. The world class knows it takes a team to build wealth, and they focus much of their effort on finding the right people to leverage their actions and ideas. The greatest fortunes are built through the collective mental and physical contributions of a world class team. The rich see themselves as team leaders, whether their team consists of employees, partners, or outsourced contractors. They assemble their team and carefully orchestrate each move the team makes according to a well-planned strategy, while the masses are interested in getting personal credit for the results they achieve. The great ones happily give the credit to their teams and prefer to trade personal recognition for profit. As the middle class proudly displays their ribbons, trophies, and gold watches, the world class sees their rewards as growing net worth. One group is content to be comfortable, and the other is content to be rich. And one of the primary differences rests in the rich's willingness to and ability to build a team, share the credit. Since the masses don't make much money, they crave recognition. The masses are more ego-focused than results-orientated. The great ones want to win and are more than willing to feed the egos of their teammates in exchange for profits. Chapter 6. The middle class sees money through the eyes of emotion. World class sees money through the eyes of logic. Most people never accumulate much money due to a series of self-limiting beliefs fueled by negative emotion. By the time the average person becomes an adult, he or she has been brainwashed with dozens of middle-class beliefs and philosophies about money that virtually guarantee a life of financial mediocrity. Children, teenagers, and young adults hear negative money messages over and over until they become beliefs, and that dictate their behavior. Their well-meaning village of advisors have inadvertently set them up to struggle for the rest of their lives. In short, a middle-class thinker can teach you how to become a world-class thinker. Someone living a restricted existence can tell you how to live an unrestricted existence, and a poor person can't teach you how to get rich. These statements are obvious to any rational thinking person operating from a logic-based mindset. Few people are able to think about money without clouding the subject with negative emotion, which is generated from dozens of middle-class beliefs. An ordinary, smart, well-educated, and otherwise successful person can be instantly transformed into a fear-based, scarcity-driven thinker whose greatest financial aspiration is to retire comfortably. The world class sees money for what it is and what it's not, through the eyes of logic. The great ones know money is a critical tool that presents options and opportunities. The great ones know money is a critical tool that presents options and opportunities. They also know if you're not happy without it, you won't be happy with it. But while money has little to do with happiness, it's one of the most important tools in the game of life. And without psychological chains binding them, champions earn all they can. When it comes to thinking about money, put your emotions on the shelf and let your reasons be your guide. How Rich People Think by Siebold. Chapter 7. Middle class believes money is about status. World class believes money is about freedom. Among the many money issues misperceived by the general public is the notion that acquiring great wealth is more about showing off than creating choices. While money certainly brings status, it's acquired mostly for the purpose of attaining personal liberty. It's impossible to be truly free without wealth. The middle class is controlled by employers, government, and the entities with superior resources who dictate what they can do and can't do. It's tough to make a moral stand for freedom when you're worried about making the next mortgage payment. Rich people can't afford to stand up and fight oppression. A moral stand for freedom when you're worried about making your next mortgage payment. Rich people can afford to stand up and fight oppression. They can afford to buy their way out of unhealthy work environments and bad bosses and other unpleasant situations. They have the means to enlist the best doctors when they get sick and are able to make themselves as comfortable as possible when they can't get well. When they want to voice their opinions, they call their congressman, who wouldn't even consider not returning their call. When the rich want to raise money for business, politics, or charity, a few phone calls to their rich friends is all it takes. If they need more money, they throw a party or host an auction and charge $1,000 a ticket. The example of how money buys freedom are endless. The middle class and the world class might live in the same world, but they do not share the same level of freedom. While this infuriates the masses, it motivates the ambitious to get rich. I'm not saying this is right or the way society should be. I'm saying this is the way it is. Instead of wasting your mental energy getting mad directed toward getting rich. Chapter 8. Middle class believes the more money you earn, the more stress you experience. World class believes the more money you earn, the less stress you experience. The average person believes high income equals high stress. Successful, high energy, goal-driven people are often seen as fast-moving and hard-driving, which makes them appear as though they are living a stressful existence. College students are often advised to focus their studies on a field that will allow them to earn a respectable salary while still being able to enjoy their lives, implying that making big money will make them miserable. The world class believes the more money you make, the less stress you will have, because most problems can be solved by writing a check. Most stress created in business and in relationships is caused by a lack of money, so the more financial resources you have, the less stress you will experience. The rich often make the point that if you want to eliminate stress and spend more time with your family, the most expeditious path is to get rich enough to quit your job. Many corporate employees earning six-figure salaries and bevy of bonuses are actually part of the working class poor because they spend more than they make, all the while worrying about not having sufficient time with their family. These otherwise intelligent people rarely realize that with a few adjustments in their belief systems and behaviors, they could earn more money in a week than they currently earn in a year. The belief that blocks them is they think the only way to earn money is through more hours, harder work, or promotion. They believe money is made in a linear fashion, which limits what they can earn. The people who embrace nonlinear approaches to building wealth have the world at their fingertips. They are in control of how much they earn and how much stress they expose themselves to. The secret to ascending to this level is realizing that it will take a different set of beliefs and philosophies to make it happen. Chapter 9. Middle class believes it's shrewd to be cynical. World class believes it's shrewd to be optimistic. The majority of the population operates from fear-based thinking and embraces the limiting beliefs that cynicism is their safest bet. After all, their fear tells them, if I don't expect much, I won't be disappointed. World-class thinkers rise to riches through an optimistic approach to business and life. They believe everything they touch will turn to gold, and when it doesn't, they believe that their next idea will. Optimism is the psychological insulator that keeps them moving forward. No matter how often they fail, make no mistake, the great ones fail. And as a matter of fact, they fail so often you might label them as professional failures. The difference is when the masses fail, they get depressed and often never attempt anything substantial again. When the millionaires fail, they shrug it off and move on to their next idea. They understand what failure is, but to them it looks like a stepping stone to their next success. And because they don't experience the same psychological pain as the masses when they fail, they keep trying new ideas until they strike gold. Their true power rests in their optimism. They have the courage to bypass their ego and get up when they get knocked down. In the early stages, before they are rich, their failures earn them jeers and snide remarks from friends, family, and others who see them as foolhardy. When they eventually break through and build their fortunes, the same people call them lucky. While the skeptics search for new ways to explain the shocking success of their friends or relatives, the rich are already on to their next project that promises to make them even wealthier. They've learned to ignore critics who sit on the sidelines and scorn their success, all the while being optimistic that someday they will see the light. Chapter 10. Middle class believes money is negative. World class believes money is positive. Ask most people about money and you'll understand why they don't have any. The masses see ambitious people as greedy and self-serving. They see money as necessary evil that must be managed but never focused on. After all, there are more righteous pursuits like television, sports, and movies. The idea of building wealth seems shallow. It also seems like a lot of work. The rich see money as a positive tool with the power to create freedom and opportunity for themselves and their families. Being wealthy gives them the option to live with author, philosopher Anne Ryan called an unrestricted existence. This means having the ability to do what you want, when you want, with whomever they want, for as long as they want, without limitations. It also gives them the freedom to engage in their favorite pastimes, no matter how lavish or seemingly impractical to the masses. Many millionaires form charitable foundations and donate substantial sums to the less fortunate. Without the ongoing support of wealthy benefactors, most charities would not survive. So while the middle class demonizes and criticizes the world class for selflessness and greed, the latter is donating the lion's share of the money that keeps charities alive. Many also pay more taxes in a year than most people pay in a lifetime and are essentially responsible for funding the infrastructure of the government's tax base. At the heart of this level of thinking is the belief that money is either a tool of evil or empowerment. The belief you adopt will lead you to abundant wealth or middle-class mediocrity. Chapter 11 of How Rich People Think by Steve Siebold. Middle class embraces advanced degrees. World class embraces any form of education that makes them wealthier. The masses believe formal education is the only education that will help them become successful. When they want to make more money, their companies encourage them to go back to school and get an MBA or a PhD. Employers are often willing to pay for these advanced degrees. This is one of the most inefficient strategies for increasing your income. The most efficient and profitable way to solve a problem, the most efficient and profitable way is to solve a problem no one else can solve and sell it. The bigger the problem, the bigger the compensation. This is the cornerstone of every great fortune. Sometimes it takes more education, and that's when world-class thinkers turn to any form of education that will give them the knowledge they need to get what they want. Sometimes they find it in a college classroom, but more often they turn to people who have done it what they want to do. This is why personal and professional development seminars have become so popular over the years. Speakers, authors, and trainers who lead their programs have usually achieved massive success in their chosen field and have come back to share their secrets with others who wish to do the same. Some aspiring rich people join referral marketing or direct sales organizations to make money while getting a world-class education and entrepreneurship. This is another unconventional yet extremely effective method of learning from brilliant rich people who have amassed personal fortunes. The rich and the ambitious are also great fans of self-study through the use of books, audio programs, and other educational materials. They will educate themselves by interviewing successful people in their field. They will hire personal coaches and consultants. They will tap any form of education available to make their dreams a reality. And they don't need a diploma or a certificate of completion to validate their investment. So, while the middle class tends to limit themselves to formal education, the world class is open to anything that moves them closer to their goals. Chapter 12. The middle class believes money is earned through labor. World class believes money is earned through thought. The average person believes that the harder they work, the more money they'll make. Their linear thinking equates labor and effort with financial success. This is why most people aren't rich. They're following an outdated model of success, and are confounded when they reach middle age with little money to show for it. 20 years of hard work. The rich know that creative thinking is the highest paid skill in the world. Independent creative thinking is the most valuable asset anyone can acquire. So while the masses are trying to figure out how to put their kids through college and retire on half of what they can barely exist on now, the great ones are building empires, living in abundance, and donating large sums to their favorite causes. This sets off a psychological domino effect, because once a person thinks and lives at the level of his abundance, they know even greater levels of success are possible through the vehicles of creative thought. Most of us were told as kids that if we paid attention in school, got good grades, and went to a respectable college or university, our success was virtually guaranteed. The reality is, few people who follow this formula ever get rich. They survive, and some become the most successful people in their families. But world-class wealth is rarely achieved by people who follow this model. The rich eventually figure out that training your mind to find solutions to difficult problems is the real secret to making money. The good news is, this is possible for anyone who conditions their mind to think this way, and then transforms thought into action. How Rich People Think by Steve Siebold. Chapter 13. Middle class worries about running out of money. World class thinks about how to make more money. Poor people spend more time thinking about money than rich people. The problem is, poor people spend this time worrying about what they'll do if they lose their job, get sick, or exceed their budget through a poor planning or bad luck. Most of this worry is a waste of time, not to mention the negative, destructive psychological impact it has on their minds and psychological havoc it wreaks with their bodies. Living in fear isn't living, it's surviving. World-class performers find problems that are profitable to solve and spend most of their time focused on solving them. They know money will follow the solution, so logic dictates they direct their mental energy toward creative and critical thought, which is rooted in the belief that just because a solution hasn't been discovered doesn't mean it doesn't exist. No fear lives at this level of consciousness. Creative critical thinking is the highest form of thought and is single-handedly responsible for all progress in history of civilization. Every product or service that has made our lives better has come from creative thought. So when I say the world class thinks about how to make more money, what they're actually thinking about is creative problem solving, not money itself. Wealthy people are often criticized for being obsessed with money, but the truth is, it's the poor, working, and middle class that spends the most time thinking about it. If the masses would upgrade their limiting beliefs about money and redirect their mental energy to new and exciting ideas, they would experience financial abundance. Money flows to great ideas like water. The secret is learning how to turn on the faucet. Chapter 14. Middle class thinks about spending, world class thinks about investing. The middle class is famous for living beyond their means. They're not spendthrifts, but they earn so little that they have to spend it all to live a decent existence. To further exasperate their frustration, they're scolded by financial experts who insist they discipline themselves and trim their spending. This is sound but middle class advice. The world class answer is to double or triple your income and create enough wealth so you can enjoy the good life to your heart's desire without worries. This way, you can join the wealthy and focus on investing the remainder of your money in stocks, bonds, real estate, art, and other wealth-building vehicles you choose. The rich get richer because they know the world is overflowing with wealth disguised as problems that they need to be solved. They know any free market economy will gladly make them rich as they desire in exchange for solutions to problems. The bigger the problem you solve, the wealthier society will make you. The more people who benefit from your ideas, the more abundance you will receive in return. The more you have to invest, the more your money goes to work for you, even as you sleep. That's another reason the rich get richer. They've learned how to make money work for them 24 hours a day. And it's not because they're investing every penny. The rich like to spend and enjoy their money like everyone else. It's that they have so much of it, there's always plenty to invest. So instead of focusing on spending and saving, focus on how to earn more, invest a percentage, and spend the remainder on any way you wish. You only live once, and you can't take it with you. Why not enjoy it? Chapter 15. Middle class focuses on pleasurable activities. World class focuses on money-making activities. The masses spend a substantial amount of time entertaining themselves in a variety of activities. They live in a state of consciousness where effort is minimal and pleasure is king. Billion-dollar industries are created overnight when smart marketers give the masses what they want the most: comfort and entertainment. Rich people focus the majority of their attention on money-making activities they enjoy. They parlay a love for real estate into a property speculation, a passion for beautiful paintings into investment art, or a flair for numbers into buying and selling stocks. So while they're working, they're making money. And while they're enjoying their hobbies, they're still making money. Wealthy people know leverage is one of the great secrets of success, and they go to great lengths to employ it. While the masses are memorizing box scores and batting averages, the world class is directing the same amount of mental energy into revenue-producing ideas. To the average person, it looks like the rich are working all the time. But one of the smartest strategies of the world class is doing what they love and finding a way to get paid for it. The world class is famous for saying that the best thing about being rich is you never have to do anything you don't want to do. And this includes how they earn money. The critical thinking question is, which comes first, doing what you love or making money to ensure you have the choice? Well, either way will work. The majority of wealthy people I've interviewed over the past 26 years didn't make serious money until they were doing what they love. Over and over, they told me the same thing. When you're doing what you love, you think about it 24 hours a day. Anything that has that much laser-focused mental energy directed toward it is going to produce massive success. Chapter 16. Middle class sees money as finite resource. World class sees money as an infinite resource. Middle class sees money as a finite resource. World class sees money as an infinite resource. The average person believes there is a limited amount of money and they need to struggle and fight for their share before someone else gets it. They live in a world of fear and scarcity that says money is hard to make and harder to keep due to years of middle class programming. Their negative and limited relationship with money also guarantees they will never accumulate more than a modest net worth. Once again, the rich occupy the opposite side of the spectrum. Although most of them had the same middle class, fear-based programming in childhood, somewhere along the way, they were able to reprogram their beliefs and develop a healthy relationship with money. The rich understand money flows from ideas. And since ideas are limitless, money is limitless. So while the masses are directing their mental energy toward grabbing as much as they can, The great ones are focused on creating new ideas that have the potential of generating abundant wealth. The rich use money to fuel their passions and bring their dreams to life. It's not the money they crave, it's the living on their terms without the interference of others. The middle class have always criticized the world class for being greedy, ruthless, and materialistic. And there is a segment of successful people that fits that description, known as the upper class. These people are driven by blind ambition and killer instinct. If you get in their way, they will run you over without hesitation. But the world class is different. The world class is spirit-centered, and they are amongst the most caring, compassionate people. These are the folks who provide the majority of the funding for the great charities and nonprofit causes. They know how to use money to improve or advance anything they care about. The reason they aren't afraid to give is they know money is an infinite supply. If you need more, they simply use their minds to create more. Welcome to the world of the self-made rich, a world they create with their minds, a world of unlimited abundance. If they can do it, why can't you? Chapter 17. Middle class earns money doing things they don't like to do. World class gets rich doing what they love. The average person finds a job or career they can tolerate and sticks with it for years while dreaming of retirement. In recent years, people have held multiple jobs with different companies and even changed occupations, but the mindset of the masses hasn't changed. The majority of people drag themselves through a job they don't like while simultaneously worrying about getting fired. They don't do this because they are stupid. They do it because they need the money, and they've been trained in school and conditioned by society to live in a linear thinking world that equates learning money with physical or mental effort. The rich have retrained themselves to operate in a nonlinear consciousness, where anything is possible. The great example of this nonlinear concept is the idea that passion is the real secret of getting rich. It's a cause and effect relationship between effort and passion. But while the masses see passion as the effect, the great ones see it as the cause. In other words, the average person goes to work every day and hopes to find passion in his or her efforts. The rich go to work every day feeling passion for what they do, and their passion fuels their efforts. This is not a semantic argument. It's a personal philosophy and strategy that serves as the foundation for every great fortune ever earned. There has been an attempt to bring this mindset to the masses by espousing the world-class philosophy of do what you love and the money will follow. There was even a book written by the exact title. The sad truth is, only a small percentage of the population will ever adopt that philosophy. Years of fear, scarcity-based programming, and daily reinforcement of a lack of limitation mentality will prevent most people from ever entering the world of the wealthy. While the fact is tough to dispute, it has nothing to do with you and me. We know the truth. We know we were sold a bill of goods in childhood by well-meaning adults who could give us the best they had, who could only give us the best they had. You and I know it's not enough. And the good news is that all of our middle-class beliefs can be upgraded or eliminated. We are in complete control, and that makes our future limitless. The first world-class belief about wealth you must adopt is that it's impossible to do what you love and get rich doing it. Once this belief is established, anything is possible, because you are now conjointly cohabitating with the wealthy in a state of consciousness that the masses don't even know exists. What's wrong with the How Rich People Think by Siebold, Chapter 18. Middle class has a lottery mentality. World class has an action mentality. Masses love the lottery because deep down they believe it's their only chance of ever getting rich. The fact is, they're probably right. Not because they're not capable, but because they don't have faith in their own abilities and their beliefs about money limit their financial success. The middle class is self-destructive, especially when it comes to money. They will always struggle financially unless they are somehow able to break the mold cast in childhood telling them only crooks and lucky people get rich. The world class has empowering beliefs about money and that leads them to effective daily action that serves as the foundation of their financial success. The great ones know that talk is cheap and that the only way to get wealthy is to take action. On the surface, the distinctions between the classes seem simple, but is actually counterintuitive. Understanding the cause and effect relationship is what gives its clarity. Many people believe, as I used to, that the masses do not possess the raw desire to get rich and therefore never take the necessary steps. The truth is, They have all the desire they need, but they lack the beliefs that would wake their latent desire. The cause of their inaction is not lack of desire, but lack of empowering belief regarding the acquisition of money. Beliefs dictate behavior, and behavior dictates results. That's what the rich understand that the middle class doesn't. If you want to get rich, dissect your beliefs about money and upgrade them to world class. Once you've taken care of the cause, the effect will follow, and you will start moving toward wealth because you will be thinking like a rich person. When the rich need money, they don't wonder if it's possible. They simply begin creating new ideas that solve problems. They don't waste mental energy worrying or wondering about their ability to produce cash. They direct their concentration toward creative thinking. Do you see why it's so effective? Do you understand now why the rich get richer? Do you see how you can do the exact same thing? The rich aren't any smarter than us. They are just more strategic. How Rich People Think by Siebold, Chapter 19. Middle class is waiting to be rescued from financial mediocrity. World class knows no one is coming to rescue. The middle class lives in a perpetual waiting game for outside forces to come to their aid and grant them their wish. Whether it's losing weight and getting fit, enhancing their relationships, or getting rich, they are operating at a level of consciousness that encourages them to wait passively for life to improve. The hero they're waiting for may be God, the government, their boss, or even their spouse. It's the average person's level of thinking that breeds this approach to life and living while the clock keeps ticking away. The number one regret people have on their deathbed is, I should have taken more risks. The greatest risk you can take is playing it safe while expecting to get what you want. The great ones know that no one is coming to the rescue, and they are glad. Any world-class performer will tell you that it's not getting what you want that's so much fun, but the person you become along the journey. World-class performers who get rich are the happiest people I've interviewed over the last 26 years. But they're not happy because they're rich. Their happiness stems from setting a goal, fighting the fight, and winning the game. The money is just a measuring stick of their mindset. Money makes their life easier and more comfortable. Money gives them opportunities to do and see things that most people never experience. But that money doesn't make them happy. Money and happiness have little to do with each other. Money is just a tool of exchange. Happiness is an emotional experience. The two have almost nothing in common. They're both important, yet largely unrelated. The ego-driven upper class has always believed riches will bring them happiness, which is why they are emotionally tortured often. These are the most miserable people I've ever interviewed, yet many are super rich. When they counted on to finally make their lives fulfilling, barely made an impact, and they are often confounded by this phenomenon. Unfortunately, this is a group of rich people the media likes to report on often, and it sends the message to society that getting rich makes people miserable. What they're missing is an elevated level of consciousness that must be accompanied with the wealth if a person is going to be happy, and that consciousness is the spirit-driven love and abundance of living world class. And it all starts with a self-reliant mindset that refuses to wait for outside forces or circumstances to make things happen. How Rich People Think by Siebold, Chapter 20. Middle class believes money changes people. World class believes money reveals people. Contrary to popular belief, it's not the catalyst of corruption. Money is a force for good. The average person has a set of beliefs and philosophies that say success and money turn people into greedy, corrupt, uncaring oppressors. It's another in the long list of limiting beliefs that keeps people from getting rich. It's also used as an excuse by and for those who claim moral and ethical superiority but who struggle alone on a paycheck-to-paycheck existence. Champions know that any kind of power, freedom, or liberation reveals the true person. If you were a crook or a cheater before you were rich, you will be worse when you're wealthy. If you're an honest, hardworking, humble person before, you'll be even better with expanded resources. Getting rich is one of the catalysts that liberates and reveals a person's true self. The masses love to blame money for as many things as possible because it psychologically absolves them from the responsibility of acquiring it. After all, we want to be good people, right? The saddest part of this trap is that most who fall into it can't see how ridiculous it is and how it virtually guarantees they will struggle and suffer for money their entire lives. Meanwhile, the rich continue getting richer, being who they always were. Chapter 21. Middle class believes in working for money. World class believes in working for fulfillment. The masses have been handing down bad advice about the occupation-money relationship for centuries. Their philosophy is to spend the majority of waking hours toiling away for the sole purpose of economic survival while being grateful for the opportunity. With the exception of times when this was the best society had to offer, it's not only a bad strategy for accumulating wealth, but also a terrible roadmap for life in general. In modern-day America and in every other free market economy, this way of thinking assaults the human spirit. The rich have always known working for the sole purpose of making money is the worst strategy for building wealth. The great ones go through an extensive introspective, soul-searching process to discover what they love to do and combine it with their unique talents and abilities. These people appear to be working hard, but the truth is they're not working at all. They're doing something they would love to do for free because they love it. My late business partner, the great Bill Gove, was known around the world as the father of professional speaking. One of the greatest pieces of wisdom I ever heard him deliver from stages all over the world was this: when you're doing something you love to do, the only reward you need is the experience of doing it. The wonderful paradox of this wisdom is that when you're doing something you love and you're very good at it, the world will gladly make you rich. Instead of setting out to find work with the most profit potential, focus on work that has the most fulfillment potential. Once you find it, invest so much of your heart and soul into it, your work, that you become one of the most competent people in your field. You'll be rewarded with uncommon wealth. The root cause in the approach of the masses and the wealthy is to level consciousness equal. The root cause in the approach of the masses and the wealthy is the level of the consciousness each operates from. The middle class from fear and scarcity, the world class from love and abundance. This difference in consciousness leads one group to seek survival and the other to manifest dreams. The only question that really matters is, which group are you in?
So, what's wrong now?
How Rich People Think by Siebold, Chapter 22. Middle class believes you have to have money to make money. World class believes in using other people's money. The majority of the world's population is operating from a consciousness rooted in linear thinking. An example is in their approach to earning money. Linear thinking tells them if they work more hours, they'll make more money. And that's true. It's also the most inefficient way to earn more money, and another reason most people don't have much. The rich are masters of non-linear thinking, especially as it relates to money. An example is how they create an idea they are unable to finance and then proceed to use other people's money to make it happen. The most frequently uttered comment of the middle class's reference to money is, "I can't afford it." Rich people know not being solvent enough to personally afford something is not even relevant. The real question is it worth buying, investing in, or pursuing? If so, the wealthy know money is always available because rich people are always looking for great investments and superior performance to make those investments profitable. The great ones are aware that it is easier to borrow $10 million than $10,000. A critical nonlinear concept to know when raising capital. Like a serious hunter stalking big game, savvy investors like large numbers and exciting deals they can sink their teeth into while expanding their empires. The middle class cliche that you have to have money to make money is limiting at best and destructive at worst. The truth is you have to have great ideas that solve problems to make money. If you do, you will attract money like a magnet. Money is only an instrument of exchange. Creative ideas are the scarce resource, but most people are focused on where the money is coming from that they ignore their ideas. Yet, the ideas are the only thing that will actually attract the money in the first place. Are you starting to see why a tiny percentage of the population owns the majority of the world's wealth? Are you starting to see that it's completely in your power to join them? Chapter 23. Middle class believes jobs are the safest way to earn money. World class believes outstanding performance is the safest way to earn money. The average person growing up in the United States is bombarded with the same message. Get a good education so you can get a good job. Interesting advice in a country founded and established on the ideals of independence, entrepreneurship, and freedom. It is not that there aren't world-class performers who punch a time clock for a paycheck, but for most, this is the slowest path to prosperity, promoted as the safest. The truth is, having a job is no safer than owning a business. As counterintuitive as it may seem, people who work for themselves have the power to proactively seek out business and increase revenues at will. They can work as many or a few hours as they wish and change the direction of the company at any time they choose. They are not subject to the whims of the management or the politics of corporate culture. The self-employed are the architects of their own destiny. But while the middle class is attracted to jobs of safety, the world class knows that the only safety any service or product provider has lies in their ability to perform. No matter who signs your paycheck, your financial success will always be based on the level of service you provide and how many people you provide it to. The great one knows there is no such thing as safety in the free market economy. Labor unions, human resources departments, and lawsuits initiated by poor performing employees are becoming less effective in an increasingly competitive, performance-driven marketplace. There is world-class performers seize the opportunity. This is where world-class performers seize the opportunity to get rich while the middle class make a mediocre effort and hides behind the perceived protection of the corporate structure. There are people with jobs who get rich, but the percentage is small. The fastest way to wealth is to work for yourself and determine the size of your own paycheck. The greatest form of security is to have millions in the bank. Rich take advantage of this while the masses wait on the sidelines, terrified to get in the game for fear they would lose the little money they have. Meanwhile, the world class is earning more in a year than the average person will make in a lifetime. And the heart of the reason is unwillingness to let go of a security that does not actually exist. How Rich People Think by Steve Siebold. How Rich People Think by Steve Siebold, Chapter 25. Middle class believes they aren't worthy of great wealth. World class believes they deserve to be rich. There is a pervasive belief among the masses that tells them they don't have the right, nor are they good enough as human beings to ask, hope, or pray for prosperity beyond their basic needs. Who am I? They ask themselves, to become a millionaire. Who am I to get what I really want? Who am I to live a lifestyle fit for a king? The world class asks, why not me? I'm as good as anyone else, and I deserve to be rich. If I serve others by solving problems, why shouldn't I be rewarded with a fortune? And since they have this belief, their behavior moves them toward the manifestation of their dreams. Whether they actually deserve to be rich or is irrelevant. Like all beliefs, they don't have to be true to be acted on. While scholars and philosophers debate whether any of us has the right to be rich in a world where people are starving, the world class continues moving closer to the level of prosperity they have convinced themselves they deserve. This is why some of the smartest people are among the poorest, while people of average intelligence build fortunes through their beliefs, positive expectations, and focus. If teachers, college professors, and other educational experts fully understood this, would there be anyone left to teach? Most likely, but only the teachers who love the profession and would do it for free if they could afford to. Whether you believe you deserve to be rich or not, you are right. Philosophers have been pondering this question for centuries, and the debate will continue long after we are gone. Base your belief on the result you want to accomplish. If you choose to be rich, why would you settle for mediocrity? If you could choose to be rich, why would you settle for mediocrity? Do you really believe God, the universe, or any higher power will reward you for squandering your opportunities? Chapter 26. Middle class believes money is their enemy. World class believes money is their friend. The masses have a dysfunctional, adversarial relationship with money. We are taught that money is scarce, hard to earn, and even harder to keep. People of influence in childhood instructed us to work hard and hoard as much money as possible. Teachers, coaches, parents, clergy, and other authority figures, most of whom had little money, conditioned us to see money as a necessary evil. The world class has the same childhood experience, but along the way had exposure to a higher thought level that changed the way they think about wealth. They learned that money is not the enemy, but one of the greatest allies and friends. They learned that money is not the enemy, but one of their greatest allies and friends. It is a friend that has the power to end sleepless nights of worry, physical pain, and even save their life. They learned that money is not materialistic. People are materialistic. Money is just a medium of exchange without attachment to anything good or bad. Blaming money for greed and materialism is like blaming food for making people fat. It's delusional thinking. The rich see money as a special friend that can help them in ways no other friend can. And these positive feelings lead them to build a stronger relationship every day. The more money you acquire, the more you understand it. And the more you understand it, the more good you can do with it. The great ones continue to cultivate and nurture their relationship with money by thinking about how to earn more, invest wiser, and leverage as much as possible. The rich do this so well that they often acquire much more than they can ever want or need, which is typically when they turn their attention to giving the excess away to charitable organizations. These groups wouldn't survive without the success and generosity of the wealthy who have adopted money as a close friend. How Rich People Think by Siebold, Chapter 27. Middle class lives beyond their means. World class lives below their means. The average person spends more than they make because they make so little. How can a family survive on the average income and still save money? The greatest financial wizard in the world couldn't pull that off. Instead of getting creative, most people try to do more with less and suffer sleepless nights worrying about the future. If this were a friends group in society, I wouldn't mention it, but it's not. It's the majority of the population living in the richest country in the history of civilization. The middle class is the wealthiest subgroup of the working poor, and most of them live beyond their means because they earn so little. These people aren't stupid. To the contrary, some are smarter and better educated than members of the world class. The difference lies in their focus. The middle class focuses on everything but getting wealthy because they have so many limiting beliefs about money and what being wealthy means. It's the last thing they want to think about. Then they listen to so-called financial gurus who berate them for overspending on frivolous things. The rich live below their means, not because they're savvy, but because they make so much money they can afford to live like royalty while still having a king's ransom socked away for the future. It's easy to live below your means when you earn more in a day than most people earn in a year. Not to mention that the rich earn money primarily through leverage and not hard labor. It's hard labor that creates the physical and psychological stress that kills so many poverty working and middle class workers. Here's how to live below your means and tap into the secret wealthy people have used for centuries. Get so rich you can afford to. Chapter 28. Middle class dreams of having enough money to retire. World class dreams of having enough money to impact the world. When I began studying the ultra successful and super rich in 1984, I thought they were ambitious than the average person. I later discovered after hundreds of interviews that it wasn't the lack of desire that held the masses back from getting wealthy, but the lack of belief in their own ability to make it happen. The average person is carrying around so many limiting beliefs about money, it's a miracle they acquire any at all. Without some intervention, lucky break, or exposure to a book like this, most people have little or no chance of ever becoming rich. The sad thing is, they have everything they need to make money than they can spend, and without the interference of a slew of middle-class beliefs, they would accomplish it. The problem is that outside the consciousness of expanding world of personal development, the masses are never taught the power of beliefs have on their behaviors as results. Beliefs literally control everything we do unless they are interrupted consciously through free will or upgraded through programming. This is common knowledge among behavioral science professionals and experts who study the mind, but the general public is oblivious to it. Their fear and scarcity-based thinking leads them to look at everything through the filters of skepticism, cynicism, and a protective mechanism. This holds them back from studying life-changing books and attending belief-altering seminars led by thought leaders in the field. As a result of this limited thinking, the masses' major goal with money is to retire at 65 and hopefully have enough money to survive until they die. As a result of this limited thinking, the masses' major goal with money is to retire at the age of 65 and hopefully have enough money to survive until they die. The world class, while often no more ambitious, set their sights on impacting the world with their wealth. Some do it through philanthropy, others through business or various financial vehicles. They do all of this while living a good life materially and enjoying the peace of mind that comes with being rich. How Rich People Think by Siebold, Chapter 29. Middle class sees the wealthy as oppressors. World class sees the wealthy as liberators. The middle class has and always will serve the world class. This reality, combined with the fear-based consciousness, leads to the masses to feel envy and jealousy toward the rich and powerful. The wealthy employ the working poor and middle class, and this gives the average person the feeling that their employers are their oppressors. World-class thinkers see the rich as the great liberators of society, in part because they pay the most taxes, donate to the most charity, and create products, services, and companies that employ the masses. Whenever there's a national crisis or financial emergency, leaders look to the rich to save the day. By raising taxes, leveraging the contacts or political favors, or pleading for their compassion to help solve. Another reason the rich are the great liberators of society is because they have the ability to make choices and move ideas. The average person barely has enough financial power to stay ahead of the bill collector, even the richest person. How Rich People Think by Siebold. Chapter 29. Middle class sees the wealthy as oppressors. World class sees the wealthy as liberators. Middle class has and always will serve the world class. This reality, combined with the fear-based consciousness, lead the masses to feel envy and jealousy toward the rich and powerful. The wealthy employ working, poor, and middle class, and this gives the average person the feeling that their employers are their oppressors. World-class thinkers see rich as the great liberators of society, in part because they pay the most taxes, donate the most to charity, and create products, services, and companies that employ the masses. Whenever there's a national crisis or financial emergency, leaders look to the rich to save the day by raising taxes, leveraging their contacts or political favors, for leading or pleading for compassion to help solve a situation only a rich person can solve. Another reason the rich are the great liberators of society is because they have the ability to make choices and move ideas. The average person barely has enough financial power to stay ahead of the bill collector. Even in the richest country in the world, the majority of the population is one paycheck away from living on the street. This reality keeps them operating in a fear-based thinking, which perpetuates the beliefs, philosophies, and behaviors that got them there in the first place. Meanwhile, the rich are operating in a mindset of love, abundance, and gratitude, and continue getting wealthier every day. This experience perpetuates the cycle of success and becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy until the performer believes he is capable of achieving any goal or dream he can imagine. While both groups are living in the same outer world, this inner world is on a different psychological plane. The more time goes by, the more the gap widens. Chapter 30. Middle class believes getting rich is outside their control. World class knows getting rich is an inside job. The masses do not understand the nature of building wealth, which is why generation after generation approaches it the same way and almost always fails. Schools teach the basics of balancing a checkbook, adhering to a budget, and basic math. This trains children and young adults to think about money in linear, logical terms, which can seal their fate financially before they earn their high school diploma. Unless they are exposed to the truth about building wealth through a book like this, a speaker who challenges them at a personal development seminar, or a rich mentor, the game is over before it begins. The fact is that getting rich begins with the way you think and what you believe about making money. If your parents were broke or in the middle class, you might end up in the same if you were to adopt their beliefs and philosophies about money. Critical thinking says the only reason people settle for a mediocre, middle class existence is because they are unaware of how to move beyond it. The secret has always been the same thinking. The only way to learn how to think like a rich person is to study them. Every action we take stems from the way we think and what we believe. While the masses believe in becoming wealthy is out of their control, the world class knows earning money and amassing wealth is a self-cause and effect relationship. The cause of our behavior is our belief system. The effect of our behavior is the result we get. Change the cause, and by default, you automatically change the behavior. And the bottom line result. Knowing this, the world-class thinker is always upgrading their beliefs, philosophies, on money by studying those who are wealthier. The end. How Rich People Make Money by Siebold. Read by M. Sinks. What up? I'm out. This time for real.